I want to play a soundbite of your dad, Dr. Walter Martin, and he's talking about the most dangerous cult here, the cult of liberal theology. It's just a 2-minute soundbite, and I'd like to get your feedback.
What is the great danger in the Christian church today? Is it from the psychologists? No. Is it from the psychiatrists? No. Is it from the sociologists? No. The danger to the church today, whatever the denomination, from within, is the person who wears the cloth of Christ, the person who wears the white collar or the cross, and who stands behind the sacred desk, and who is unfaithful to the Word of God. That is the ultimate danger to the church. The corrupt and apostate shepherds who infest our theological seminaries and our colleges and fill our pulpits across the United States and Canada, who know not God, do not believe the gospel of Jesus Christ, and will stand in the way of anybody that wants to preach it. That is the ultimate danger to the church, because it is inside the church. The cancer is within, and it eats away, and we don't recognize it. Or when we do recognize it, we don't do anything about it, because we're afraid that people will be offended. We'll be afraid that people will call us narrow, bigoted fundamentalists. We're afraid that they will call us that most horrible of phrases, kooky charismatics. We are afraid that the Elks, the Oddfellows, the Masons, the Shriners, the Lions, and the Rotary, and everybody else will look down on us, and somehow or other we will do damage to the gospel of Christ. We are so careful to preserve the wolves in the church, and so slow to defend the faith of the church. That is what curses us.
Well, I don't think this program preserves the wolves very often, but Eric, I think you would agree with Walter Martin and what he had to say there. I think that was rather profound.
In fact, I make open claim very openly when I do this seminar live that it is after that particular message that I have fashioned both the DVD and my live presentation, The Most Dangerous Cult, after Dr. Martin's message, and taken his outline and merely updated it. But it was inspiration to me in those days, listening to that again and again and again, hearing what he was saying and understanding that since I came out of a liberal church background, and Melanie and I experienced that so many others are sitting in there and not realizing what they're not hearing from the pulpit. You know, but it is a prophetic thing, Jan and Jill. It's a prophetic thing that this is happening in the end days. Paul warns the Thessalonican church, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first. So the rebellion or apostasy, which is the actual Greek word, apostasia there for falling away. The rebellion, the apostasy, the falling away is taking place right now, and it's being facilitated right inside the church doors.
Well, Eric, and you travel to a lot of churches. Is your outreach to the churches limited because you, for instance, you name names, you make waves, just as this radio program names names and makes waves, and not always received 100% in favor. In other words, you caused some trouble. So, I mean, is your outreach somewhat limited?
Well, let's put it like this. Those who teach false doctrine aren't necessarily going to hear my messages and go, wow, I want that guy in my pulpit. I'm immediately excluded from so many churches because of that, but that's okay. If I can reach people through the DVDs, through the radio here, through our website, and through the churches that do have me, then so be it. I don't mind taking the arrows for it.
Well, I think anytime you're confrontational in any way, they don't want you anywhere near their people as they look at it, their people. And I think this has to do directly with the basic beliefs of Hinduism that have infiltrated our culture, where it's non-confrontational, accept everyone and everything. This is the spirit of the age, and it's all pervasive.
Yeah, it is. And it fits the church growth model that says don't do anything that's negative,
Right.
don't talk about anything that might disturb someone. You know, I think it's very, very interesting to look back and research the German Enlightenment, which I know you've done, Jill, and I know your dad did too. The German Enlightenment really really is what brought on liberalism 150 or so years ago. And it's defined as an era in which everyone and everything is viewed as suspicious, and history is assumed to be something other than it is historically recorded to be. That could be the definition of postmodernism as well. So it's no wonder that the 20-something, 30-something young people that are around what is maybe called the Christian church, but really isn't, it's no wonder they're so friendly to this, because that's the same ideas they've got. Trust nothing, don't believe history, change things to be what you want them to be.
Well, yeah, and the Bible does not give us the option to pick and choose things. Several years ago, I was at a leadership meeting and everyone was there. It was Planned Parenthood. I'd done some research, so I was invited, but it was Planned Parenthood, the people who ran that. It was the head of the gay movements. And I was sitting at a table with one of the directors from Planned Parenthood, one of the directors of the LGBT movement, and I pointed directly to certain verses in the Bible, and they looked right at me and said, well, that's not what it says. I read it to them at the table, and their answer was, that's not what it means.
That's because they don't want it to mean
exactly.
that.
And so they treat it like Karl Barth said years ago. He said that the Bible is just a divine mailbox and we can take things out of it. Well, my father was dealing with this with one of the pastors that he worked with, and he was the senior pastor. My father was the associate. And he said to him, no, the Bible is not a divine mailbox. The Bible is the message, and you cannot pick and choose what it is you believe. And that's the heart of liberalism. It's the heart of rebellion, I think, Jan. It's the heart of rebellion. I will believe what I will believe, period. I do not need to listen to everything that God says.
J. Philip Wagaman, who was the Foundry Methodist Church pastor that Bill and Hillary Clinton were sitting under when they were president, and I said they were president, he said, in their hearing, the scriptures, like the Washington Post, contain both truth and error. Now, this leaves it wide open to say that's good, that's bad, that's not in the Bible or shouldn't be in the Bible, and this stuff over here is what we ought to do. In other words, they're deciding for themselves what they want to believe out of the scriptures. It's easy to call someone a cultist when they begin to deny the doctrines of the faith, and that's exactly what's happening far and wide.
And we're supposed to defend our doctrine. That is a huge thing that gets forgotten. Defend the doctrine. Right. Defend the faith. This is key to living the Christian life. Key to